The first episode of any show is one of the hardest things to get right. It's the pitch, the moment a series has to prove that your time won't be wasted. That challenge gets even tougher in genres crowded with bigger names already fighting for attention. With all of these big shows that are constantly fighting for attention, what do you do to be able to make yourself stand out? Well, you don't follow the normal. On June 27th, 2025, Takapi's Original Sin premiered and delivered what I believe is one of the strongest first episodes in anime. The reason I say this is because Takapi gave us a first episode that is very different and not normal in any way. Let me introduce myself. I'm Fadeless. I play video games, I like to talk about anime, and today I want to break down why Takapi's Original Sin has one of the best first episodes in anime, focusing on these 3 key points. Before we start, I need to give a disclaimer. This show is incredibly sad, dark, and deals with very heavy themes, the most prominent being suicide. If you're someone who might be triggered or struggling with suicidal thoughts, please know I'll include a link in the description to helpful resources. You are loved, you are cared for, and if you ever feel like harming yourself or worse, please know that should never be an option. The world would lose out on someone very special and very important. You. So if you ever decide to watch the show, please keep these things in mind while going in. And if you're going to watch the show, click off this video. I feel like the best way to enjoy this show is completely blind. So you haven't seen it, go watch it, and then come back. One issue the anime often struggles with is the tendency to explain everything happening on screen. Since the original source material is usually manga, the author has to find a way to describe what's going on in still, two-dimensional panels. This often leads to anime scenes where characters explain events instead of letting them unfold naturally. A common storytelling principle is show, don't tell. For me, that means trusting the audience's intuition and giving them enough visual and contextual clues so viewers can connect the dots themselves. A great example of this is the opening shot of Takapi's. We're introduced to Shizuka, our main character, and using our natural intuition, we can piece together what kind of person she is and what she might be going through. Based off the information that's immediately given to us, her hair is slightly messy, her face, especially her eyes, look very lifeless and full of sorrow. Her book pack looks like it's about to explode on impact and is covered in very hateful and disgusting markings. None of these details are ever addressed until much later in the episode, but what makes this scene so good, instead of immediately pointing them out, they're simply there, left for the audience to interpretate. Another strong moment appears in the first classroom scene. In just 6 seconds, we see Shizuka's vandalized desk and a blonde classmate smirking at her. That quick shot deepens the impression from the opening, gives us more evidence of Shizuka's reality without spelling it out for us. By delaying the explicit commentary, the episode lets us experience her situation rather than hearing about it. This approach also shows how carefully the story balances information. Too little leaves the viewer unsatisfied, and too much leaves them overwhelmed and disengages them. Takapi strikes that balance perfectly, giving enough context to understand the situation while leaving room for discovery. Anime is no stranger to twists, designed for shock value. Usually though, these moments don't arrive until the end of an episode, or midway through the series. But what happens when you place that twist in the middle of the very first episode? The moment that sealed me into this show was when Shizuka tragically took her own life by hanging herself. I didn't see it coming, it left me completely speechless. When Takapi later saved the day by going in time to when Shizuka was still alive, I knew there was way more ahead of us. That scene made it clear that this story wasn't going to be soft on its themes or shy away from very harsh realities. The author wanted to make their point clear without hesitation. I call this a hook because when a twist lands with the weight of a mid-season reveal, it compels viewers to keep watching, eager for the next turn. Shock value is a term many anime fans and critics often use, usually negatively, for moments that exist just to grab the attention without adding anything meaningful. But this twist is different. It doesn't just shock, it shapes the entire story. Learning Takapi can go back in time immediately raises more questions about how she might fix Shizuka's problem and what new challenges might come. Another hook that you could find actually happens in frame 1 of Takapi's, and it's the art style. Takapi's has a very colorful and bright art style, very similar to many battle shonen or shoujo animes. We associate bright and colorful colors with happier things. There's a reason that almost all romance shows have very bright, colorful, and distinct characters. You are trying to watch something that's supposed to make you feel good and warm on the inside. It'd be weird if you watched a romance show and had a very monochrome look to it. Not saying it can't be done, but I'm just saying it wouldn't be the normal thing to do, which is the direction that Takapi's decided to take, straying away from the normal. This idea of using a very bright and colorful art style while having these very dark and heavy themes, it lures the audience into a very false sense of security because it makes them believe that good will eventually come. Music is another key factor any show or movie must consider. While music often enhances what's happening on screen, silence can be just as powerful. If stressful or emotional real-life moments played out just like they do in media, our lives would be full of dramatic soundtracks. But reality doesn't work that way. Using silence to make a point is an incredibly effective storytelling tool. A standout example appears when Takapi takes Shizuka's form to speak with Marina. The sequence is tense. Takapi gets brutally beaten, unsure why. Throughout the confrontation, music underscores the tension until Marina slaps Takopi. At that instant, the score cuts out, leaving nothing to soften what follows. The silence forces us to sit with the moment, making it feel grounded and painfully real. When the music eventually returns, it's subtle and restrained. No dramatic swells, just quiet, uneasy notes. Even outside the scene, the soundtrack is fascinating in happy moments. The music often hides subtle warnings. For instance, as Shizuka moves throughout her day while Marina tries to sabotage her, the track begins with a bright major chord, but slowly shifts into something more dissonant. That gentle change foreshadows the darker turn about to come. The story is far from simple. It isn't a one-dimensional plot, but a layered narrative with real depth, much like its characters. But that's another topic for another video. When it comes to breaking normalities and trying to make yourself stand out, you need to find something that is obviously very different, but still works. If you try to be very different and doing something no one's ever really seen before, you run the risk of making yourself too different and find yourself unappealing to audiences. You need to be able to find that balance of, yes, I am different, but I'm also good in a sense I'm different. It's been a long time since I've seen a first episode in anime that stands out this much. More shows, especially in this genre, could learn a lot from studying Takopi's and how it creates such an outstanding first episode. Thank you for watching. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm Fadeless. I like to play video games and talk about anime. Please consider subscribing and liking this video so that way I can show more people my work.